Tonight, small-town homicide.
Tried resuscitating her for a long time, but it was quite apparent that that wasn't going to work.
The investigation in a lakeshore community and a suspect arrested. Plus, school bus safety.
There are absolutely no excuses for breaking the law, as it's putting children in danger.
The parent-led campaign inspired by local tragedy. And taking the silver stage. The local theater troupe putting seniors in the spotlight.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a homicide investigation in a small community on Lake Huron. Police say they have a suspect in custody who neighbors say is the son of the woman who was found dead. Sean Irvin reports.
OPP forensic officers prepare to enter a home in the community of Northville Estates in the Lake Huron shoreline village of Port Franks. It was here that multiple residents reported a disturbance broke out shortly after 1:30 p.m. Saturday. All have told CTV News that a woman was attacked and stabbed inside a home. One neighbor telling us that another neighbor rushed into her home to report the stabbing of her friend, the woman next door. The same neighbor indicated a male resident trying to help was also attacked. A few moments later, this man was on his porch when he spotted another man moving quickly. He identified him as the woman's son.
Come running from this area here into the side of the house and down into they have a kind of a basement thing in his underwear. So it kind of shocked me.
Neighbors say within moments a large police presence was on scene, with the first arriving officers desperately attempting to save the woman's life.
They were carrying her and they brought her over here to the grass and they put her down and tried resuscitating her for a long time, but it was quite apparent that that wasn't going to work.
It is expected that police will release more details in the coming hours, but for now they've only confirmed limited information.
Upon arrival, we located somebody who was deceased at scene. Another individual was seriously injured and taken to hospital. One person was taken into custody without incident.
Multiple residents report the injured man is recovering in hospital. Some have visited him.
And he said it was the most horrible thing he's ever seen.
Overwhelmed by the violence, the tight-knit retirement community is supporting each other as police continue their investigation. All residents are grieving the woman who was killed. Many view her as gracious.
I just know she's a beautiful and very smart and very kind person.
Police say the man is expected to appear in court on Tuesday. At least one neighbor reported there had not been any police at the home in the past. In Port Franks, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Parents of kids at a North London elementary school say they're shaken up after learning a teenager was arrested last week, accused of threatening gun violence against the school community. With more on their reaction and the latest on that police investigation, here's Rita Ismail.
Parents say fear spread quickly after word circulated that police were investigating weapons threats connected to Masonville Public School.
Freak out is obviously a bit of an exaggeration, but as a parent, you can't help it. You can't help but freak out a little bit, right? It's just you're scared. You didn't know what actually could have happened, and it's like hearing about all of it after the fact. It was just unsettling.
Another parent told CTV News she was petrified.
Because this is a good neighborhood, a good school, and it was a mixed emotions.
Just before 2 on Friday, officers responded to a report involving a 16-year-old male who had made threats indicating that he would discharge a firearm at the school. Late Friday afternoon, the school sent an email notifying families of the situation. It told parents that while a threat had been received, the situation did not require the school to enter a lockdown or hold and secure. London police say officers worked quickly once the report came in.
The London Police Service takes these investigations seriously. Officers acted quickly, and as a result of their quick response, we're able to identify and locate the individual and made the arrest and have charged the 16-year-old youth with 2 counts of uttering threats.
Police say the teen cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. On Friday, officers executed a search warrant at the youth's home. No weapons or firearms were found. Investigators later confirmed neither the teen nor their family has access to any weapons. The 16-year-old is now facing 2 counts of uttering threats. Police say the investigation remains active. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
It was a snowy weekend across Midwestern Ontario. This was the scene near Blythe Sunday morning. Snow squalls caused poor visibility and made for treacherous road conditions. Another 10 to 15 centimeters of snow is expected for residents along the Bruce Peninsula.
Good evening. Some rough road conditions continue tonight, especially towards Bruce County, the Bruce Peninsula. We still have snow squalls that are moving through, potential for another 5 to 10 centimeters, even in some locales, about 10 to 20 centimeters under some of those heavier squalls. We do have some squalls as well toward Parry Sound into the east of Georgian Bay. Bit of a wind chill out there tonight. Temperatures feeling close to -8 to -10 in some areas, and it'll get cold. Below normal conditions continue in the forecast. December arrives with meteorological winter, and with it, winter-like conditions. Taking a look at our satellite radar, you can see some snowfall just off to the southwest. This is on the way for tonight. We will see a general area of snowfall move in late tonight and through the overnight, about 2 to 4 centimeters on the way. By 10 o'clock, we'll be into some light snowfall, -6 by midnight. Cold air, an Arctic cold front on the move arrives Wednesday night, and that pushes us way into the deep freeze for your Thursday. I'll take you through that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Julie. Officials with the Middlesex Centre Fire Service say they're investigating a house fire near Strathroy. They say the fire was reported early Sunday morning. Damage is estimated at about $1 million. No injuries have been reported, and at this point, the cause is under investigation.
It was a stubborn fire. We were there for a little while. We probably had about 10 to 12 apparatuses on scene and around 35 to 40 firefighters at the height of it.
Fire crews in Enniskillen Township also say they're investigating a house fire from yesterday. This is what's left of the home in Oil Springs. They say the cause of that fire is under investigation as well, and no injuries were reported there either. Local parents have launched a bus safety campaign motivated by tragedy this time last year when a young boy was killed by a driver as he was getting off the bus. With more on the message they're trying to spread, here's Jerry DeWan.
The death of 7-year-old Dante Caranci last December devastated his family, friends, and school community. Now members of that school community have organized the No Excuses campaign to put new emphasis on school bus safety.
The campaign was really focused on raising awareness, sharing that there are absolutely no excuses for breaking the law as it's putting children in danger.
Dante Caranci attended Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Elementary School in Delaware. He had just exited his bus at the end of the school day on December 16, 2024, when he was struck and killed. The incident happened on Longwoods Road near Murray Road in Lambeth. The Community Bus Safety Committee says incidents where drivers pass school buses are shockingly common.
The province of Ontario did a study in 2023, I believe, where they estimated that 30,000 drive-bys happen per day in Ontario, which is beyond shocking. That is a terrible statistic, and that's 30,000 opportunities where our children are actually put in danger.
The committee has created a campaign that can be used in a number of different ways, including billboards, rink boards, and social media posts.
We really feel strongly about this initiative, given the time of year. Drivers are distracted. They either don't know the rules of the road, they don't care, or again, they're just really distracted. We see drive-bys in our neighbourhood all the time.
The committee is offering the resources at no charge to anyone who wants to donate ad space or fundraise to buy space in order to promote the bus safety message.
I think that the campaign message about no excuses is really that moment to slow down and make really good choices, follow the law, and make sure that everyone is safe.
In June, London police announced charges against 2 people in connection with Dante Caranci's death, a 47-year-old courier who allegedly passed the bus, which had safety lights flashing and the stop sign displayed, and the 81-year-old bus driver who police allege ignored many safety steps when allowing Caranci to exit the bus. Both cases are still before the courts. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
A London police officer took the stand at a coroner's inquest today, which is looking into the death of a woman in police custody. As Nick Paparella reports, in hindsight, the officer says he would have done things differently the night she died.
Within minutes of her second arrest on the same day, Amanda Bolt was telling London police officers in the cell block area at headquarters on Dundas Street that she wanted to go to hospital for medications. Released from custody earlier that same November day in 2019 so she could get her prescription drugs, the 28-year-old was rearrested for breaching her conditions on domestic charges. Sergeant Kevin Louis was in cells that night and said, "I believe the medications she was seeking to get were not urgent. If these medications were so essential, why wouldn't she make efforts to obtain them earlier?" He went on to say she wasn't showing outward signs of being intoxicated by drugs. She wasn't slurring her words, so it didn't lead me to believe she was in immediate need of medical care. The inquest has heard that Bolt had a long list of medical and mental health issues and that she took medications for her heart. Hours after being placed in cells, Bolt was under medical distress and would be rushed to Victoria Hospital, where she would die 10 days later from cardiac arrest. Asked what he would do differently today, Sergeant Louis said, "In hindsight, I would have listened more and asked more questions." The officer told the jury he would recommend more staff and resources in the cell block area at headquarters. And before wrapping up, he told the Bolt family, "I hope this inquest can give you a small measure of closure." Nick Paparella, CTV News.
London police say they need help identifying a suspect wanted for their involvement in an anti-war protest back in October. They say the suspect is a white man with a medium build. He was wearing a black hoodie, toque, and sunglasses with a blue bandana around his neck. Police say a previously wanted woman from Toronto turned herself in last week with a court appearance set for next month. Police say 6 suspects from across Ontario face various charges after announced seizures last week where they found smoke bombs, hard drives, and protest placards from search warrants. A holiday fundraising campaign culminated this past weekend supporting Londoners putting food on their tables. Here's a look at the Business Cares food drive.
This is the time of year when people need extra help. And of course, this is going to fill those shelves at the food bank for months. So when you think about the families that are using the food bank, a lot of people coming in for the very first time over the holidays and not being able to, afford food for their children. And about 40% of people that use the food bank are kids. So when you think about that really sticks with you. Yeah, you can do financial donations, you can donate food. There's numerous ways to donate. We take it all. We do checks and Visa and debit. We'll take any way you want to give, we'll take that. And every can makes a difference. So one can is just as much as $100. So each donation really makes an impact.
A local theater troupe comprised entirely of seniors are back with their 4th production, about to start a 10-day run at the Grand Theatre. With more on this year's show, here's Brent Lale.
From seasoned actors to those taking the stage for the first time, London's Silver Spotlight Theatre is back.
Movies were movies. This is my first musical period.
People go show tune. What show tune? Jerry Herman. Who's Jerry Herman? But then you think about the songs, La Cage aux Folles, Mame, Hello Dolly, and you go, I didn't know Jerry Herman wrote all those songs.
Known as SST, the company was created in 2022 to give senior actors more opportunity.
I knew I was in the demographic, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to explore musical theater. I've sung in Broadway choirs and done some workshops in musical theater, but I thought, well, this is my chance to make my debut.
After performing in Babes in Arms and Grease, Karen Hamilton McDonald is ready to take the stage for her 3rd production.
I'm obviously a senior, and to have the chance to play younger roles that I may not have done in my younger years is a real bonus, and as I say, a lot of fun with cast members have become a little community.
Show Tune will begin a 10-day run starting Thursday at the Auburn stage of the Grand Theatre. Formerly under the umbrella of Musical Theatre Productions, SST is now separating.
We were able to acquire our own charitable status through CRA, and we have established our own brand, if you will, within the community. It's given us an autonomy that we've long looked for. We're not necessarily tied to doing musicals all the time. We could do small plays, we could do cabarets, we could do serious pieces.
Romance and action and thrills.
You're going to know some of the songs you won't know, but that's okay. It's going to be a fabulous show. And come out to 90 minutes long and come out and enjoy yourself at the Auburn.
Brent Leo, CTV News.
Coming up, a cabinet shuffle in Ottawa, the Prime Minister's inner circle shakeup after a high-profile resignation. Plus, a Canadian wounded in the West Bank, the incident blamed on rising settler violence.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
It's time to build a toy mountain. Make this holiday season merry for so many kids. Bring new unwrapped toys to CF Masonville Place.
All in support of the Salvation Army. We will be collecting donations November 21st to December 24th.
With all donations helping families right here in our community. Toy Mountain, supported by Gomez Appliances, London Bass Center, and UBC Built Local 1946.
Let's make this the best toy mountain ever. Visit ctvlondon.ca for more ways to donate.
Londoners at risk of falling through a Renoviction loophole are calling on city councillors for immediate action. However, as Daryl Newcomb reports, a motion targeting unethical landlords left politicians deadlocked today.
I can't afford today's rents. I'm afraid of becoming homeless. I don't know what's going to happen to me and my cat.
It's really time that City Hall looks at things differently when it comes to affordable housing, or more of us are going to be out on the street.
It's the elderly and it's the disabled and the traumas that they have to go through to fight back against these bad faith tactics.
Tenants and advocates called on a council committee to back a motion by Councillor David Ferreira aiming to close a loophole in the city's Renoviction bylaw. While landlords issuing N13 notices to evict tenants before renovating their units must get a license from City Hall, those issuing N13s to demolish the unit or convert it into commercial space are exempt.
There has been a clear increase on demevictions from bad faith landlords just looking to remove tenants from their longstanding housing.
Council enacted a bylaw in March that aimed to prevent bad faith N13 evictions when landlords remove low-income tenants simply to hike the rent. But staff admitted because of their existing workload, a report wouldn't be ready until the third or fourth quarter of next year. Councillor Pribble suggested that allows council time to receive an already anticipated report reviewing the current renovation bylaw early in the new year before making a decision about the loophole.
And I really want to wait for it and make the best possible decisions going forward.
I'm not willing to say, sorry, we're going to do a review next year, and too bad, so sad if something happens to you.
Ferreira's motion lost on a tie vote 2-2. The deadlock meaning it will not receive the committee's recommendation prior to going to council.
It doesn't make sense to me at all. I think we need to stop this now. There are a ton of people out there that are at risk that are already going through this process right now.
Staff have a report coming back in Q2 of next year. Interested to see that report before I look at decisions of what needs to be made for next steps.
I'm so worried about just throwing more and more people into homelessness. And we're not paying enough attention to homeless prevention.
A final decision will be up to City Council at its meeting on December 16th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has shuffled his cabinet after a high-profile resignation last week. The Environment Minister stepped down, protesting a pipeline deal with Alberta. With more on today's changes, here's Judy Trin.
The Prime Minister has decided to divide Stephen Guilbeault's previous responsibilities between 3 ministers. The biggest surprise was the return of a new old face. Mark Miller is returning to the inner circle after being dropped from cabinet after Mark Carney's election. Miller was a loyal supporter of Justin Trudeau, but has now been appointed Minister of Canadian Culture and Identity, as well as the minister responsible for official languages.
It feels great. I am a guy that likes to be busy, and so, I was a little restless, but it's nice to get the opportunity to keep on doing some amazing work and contributing to Canada, for the reasons that I got into politics, because I love my country.
Current Minister for Transformation of the Public Service and Procurement, Joel Lightbound, takes on the additional role of Quebec Lieutenant. Here's what he said after he was sworn in.
I'll just say that I'm honored by the trust bestowed on me by the Prime Minister. It's an important role in federal politics and in Quebec politics, and I look forward to getting to it.
Also, the current Minister of the Environment and Climate Change, Julie DeBrusen, takes on the additional role of Minister for Nature. She takes on responsibility for national parks. All three ministers involved in this shuffle were first elected in 2015. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials with Canada's Global Affairs Office say a Canadian activist was wounded in an attack by Israeli settlers over the weekend. Today, federal authorities condemned settler violence in the region, which they say has been on the rise. Colton Prail reports.
A Canadian woman and 3 Italians were attacked in the early morning hours Sunday in the village of Een El Duc near Jericho in the West Bank. The woman from British Columbia, who asked not to be identified, says masked settlers armed with rifles and clubs beat her and her companions in an attempt to intimidate them.
They proceeded for at least 15 minutes to attack and beat us brutally. I myself was kicked repeatedly in the head, in the ribs, in the hip, and in the thigh. They poured gasoline on us and threatened to burn the house down. In the past month.
The woman is part of a Palestinian group which places international activists in the West Bank to try to deter settler violence. She says attacks in the Duke region have become a daily occurrence over the past 2 months. In a statement, Global Affairs Canada says it's aware of a Canadian citizen injured in the West Bank, but can't provide further information. Canada condemned violence committed by what it calls extremist settlers and opposes any actions or talk about the annexation of the Palestinian territories, calling the settlements illegal. Meanwhile, the United Nations says there were over 260 settler attacks across the West Bank in October, the most in any month since 2006. Meanwhile, the Canadian woman says she and her colleagues will return to the community of Duke, where they were attacked, once they recover from their injuries.
What happened to us is terrible, but it's nothing in comparison to the Palestinian experience.
Last week, Germany, France, the UK, and Italy said the increased attacks risk undermining the success of a Gaza peace plan. They're urging the Israeli government to reverse its settlement policy. Colton Prail, CTV News, Ottawa.
On the desk now with Julie Atchison, and welcome to December, Julie. And with that, it's getting a little chilly.
Yes, break out the mitts, the hats, the snowsuits. This week's going to be cold. An Arctic cold front will come through later in the week, Carlyle, and that will put us right into the deep freeze. So a piece of the polar low will be wobbling southward, and that brings the cold air. So we'll get to that in just a second, but we have some light snowfall in the forecast for tonight. -2 our high today, -5 our low, so we should be at about +3. Satellite radar showing the first signs of this low pressure area. It's well off to the southwest. You can see the snowfall has moved in through Illinois and Indiana. The air mass will saturate towards Ohio in the next couple of hours, and then some snowfall will be coming in for us overnight. Now, this is a system that's well off to the south. It has a big trough associated with it, and that trough is bringing the moisture to southern Ontario. So in terms of snowfall that we're going to get overnight, likely about 2 to 4 centimeters. Some of the heavier snowfall will be along this northern shoreline of Lake Erie. Now, north into midwestern Ontario, not expecting a whole lot in the way of heavy snow, especially through Huron, Perth, Grey Bruce. This is not a snow squall event. This is not a lake effect snow. This is system snow. So this means a general light snowfall overnight. -6 the low, -7 in Mount Forest, KW, and dealing with some wind chills overnight, close to about -10. So watch as we head out 36 hours. So the snow coming in anytime 9 to 10 p.m. p.m. and it'll be steady at times as we head through the overnight. Hallam and Norfolk in the morning, you'll still have some snowfall around, but it'll be tapering off in London and then continuing to move off to the east. So the main low pressure area, as I mentioned, well off to the south, and it's just this moisture area out ahead of it that's pushing northward that will bring that general light snowfall. You can still see some squalls toward the Bruce Peninsula. It's been a very rough day on area roads. That will continue heading into tomorrow, but the rest of the area will be back into a nice mix of sun and cloud by Tuesday afternoon. Conditions are looking quite pleasant, and then as we head into Wednesday, we'll be tracking our next Arctic cold front, and that one's going to bring a big push of cold air. Here's the forecast model. Shows you snowfall amounts, so in London close to 5 centimeters. But it's really that northern shoreline of Lake Erie that will see the higher amounts, so anywhere between 5 and 8 centimeters. So that's areas like Chatham, coming into St. Thomas, Port Stanley, Hallam and Norfolk in and around Port Franks, and then towards Niagara. So you can see temperature, or rather snowfall amounts under 10 centimeters, but enough that you will need to leave yourself some extra time in the morning. We will see some slick road conditions develop. And of course, make sure you clean off your cars. -1 by noon hour, winds light out of the north, and the forecast high coming in at the freezing mark. Mainly cloudy on Wednesday and -2. The Arctic cold front comes in Wednesday night. That is the leading edge of some bitterly cold air. It'll bring flurries to the region, but some sunshine as we head into Thursday at -5. -3 on Friday with a chance of some night flurries once again. And then Saturday, the risk of flurries at -1. But look at the overnight lows. Yikes, -8 to -13. Again, remember, a normal daytime high for this time of year, +3. So as we head out to day 6 and 7, daytime highs around -3. And in Midwestern Ontario, between -4 and -5. So this is not a big system for you. Lake effect snow will continue in the Bruce Peninsula tonight and into tomorrow. Just some light flurries expected overnight through Huron and Perth. Grey and Bruce, I doubt you'll see anything out of this. You could see a few off-lake flurries just with that light wind coming in. But other than that, just some light flurries. Areas to the north, localized snowfall amounts, as I mentioned off the top, continuing to pile up for you. But back into a mix of sun and cloud as we head into your Thursday at -5. So risk for flurries tomorrow, but a mix of sun and cloud is expected across much of the region. Carlyle, an interesting week ahead with some very cold air on the move. So winter's ready. And of course, today is the official start of meteorological winter. And yes, showing up in style.
We're going to feel it. All right. Thanks very much, Julie. Still ahead, coming to terms on workplace closure. Employees sign off on an agreement to shut down the Crown Royal bottling plant.
Taste X, the London food and drink experience, is coming to the Western Fair in January the 9th and 10th, and we want you to be there. Win your way in and score a pair of tickets tomorrow morning at 8:35. Good luck.
The Auburn Group Magic of Lights, powered by Liuna Local 1059, is back for the holidays at Fanshawe Conservation Area until January 3rd. Travel through a route of holiday lights and displays, great for the whole family. Enter online at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a vehicle pass.
Officials with Algoma Steel say they've issued layoff notices for about 1,000 workers. A company spokesperson issued a statement saying Algoma Steel has been significantly impacted by U.S. tariffs. As a result, the company is closing certain operations and transitioning to electric arc steel making a year earlier than planned. The layoffs will take effect in late March. The company had previously been the beneficiary of $500 million in federal and provincial loan assistance. That was supposed to help it cope with tariff impacts. Automaker Stellantis is under pressure in Ottawa for failing to show up to a recent meeting and refusing to provide an unredacted document as requested. At the center of the dispute, a government agreement giving Stellantis $15 billion for its Nexstar energy project. Michelle Molesky reports.
When Canada's Standing Committee on Government Operations and Estimates met November 25th, they expected someone from Stellantis to join.
We are having some technical difficulties getting our Stellantis witness online.
While they waited, the Deputy Minister of Industry tried to explain why the report before MPs was redacted.
The automotive industry is highly competitive, and the information provided to governments when participating in government programming is shared with the understanding that it will be protected.
Sure, but who's the one that had the Sharpie marker in hand? And
Yeah, so Stellantis ultimately had to agree to what they were willing to have in the shared with this committee.
I'm not sure if Stellantis is listening to us, but we're saying you are working with taxpayer dollars. Who's the boss? Is it democracy? Is it the government? Or is it the company?
Still, Stellantis wasn't online.
I'm not sensing a lot of desire for them to address the IT issues.
In a statement to CTV News, Stellantis says they logged in correctly and tested the line beforehand, but still Teresa Perusa was unable to connect.
I am incredibly annoyed that Stellantis has not been able to join us.
After more than an hour, the committee meeting ended with no connection to Stellantis and no promise to see the unredacted version of the contract.
The idea that no one even raised the possibility of giving us the full contract is just, to me, unbelievable. And it looks like Stellantis was just, they walked over our request. And this is, it's an outrage, actually.
Brampton MP Ira Khalid said she was devastated to not be able to ask Stellantis questions.
This is my constituents and my city and my region whose jobs are directly impacted. So, and then for Stellantis' failure to appear today, it just adds fuel to my fire.
Michelle Molesky, CTV News.
A closure agreement has been reached for the Diageo plant in Hammersburg. The facility will shut down with terms now official for the workers who are losing their jobs. Bob Belichico reports.
A lot of people it's almost like zombies.
The closure agreement, approved by 89% of members in Sunday's ratification vote, means some workers spent the day bidding farewell to jobs they've proudly held for years.
Yeah, it's somber because a lot of people are choosing to exercise their rights under the closure agreement, and today's their last day.
Doug Benekritis, the union chair and a worker at Diageo, says the deal was finalized ahead of the December 2nd deadline when the collective agreement was set to expire.
Once you get past that deadline, there's no power on a closure agreement because they can just get up and leave and you get what the government gives you.
Unifor Local 200 President John Dagnolo says the details of the agreement now rest with the workers themselves.
There was improvements over and above. There was bonuses, some extra money for them over top of their 2 weeks per year.
Dagnolo explains some benefits were extended and some are able to retire early. Benekritis is one of the few that didn't hit the magic retirement number.
I was literally okay until I read that we're closed at the ratification meeting. And then I had to take a second, like right now, to regroup.
Peer-led support and resources will be available to workers through an action center due to the plant closure. As for the future of the plant, Amherstburg Mayor Michael Preuss says there are several companies eyeing it. He says the town is in weekly contact with an interested buyer.
They are attempting to resolve some of the hurdles in order to get the product listed. And we know that the Ontario government and the LCBO is working with them.
Amherstburg Mayor Michael Preuss says he would like to see a seamless transition between Diageo and any new operator, but acknowledges there are some factors to consider, including the sale of this building.
It is ripe for the picking, and if there's an alcohol-based company that's going to come here, we have trained people that are good at their jobs.
Now, though, that they have resolved the issue with the union, they should be clear and free to make whatever financial decisions they want concerning that property.
Bob Belichico, CTV News.
Canada's main stock index was weighed down by losses in the technology sector. The TSX fell 281 points. In New York, the Dow lost 427. Nasdaq dropped 90. The Canadian dollar ended the day unchanged. On commodity markets, gold gained almost $20 an ounce. Oil up 77 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, local history buffs trying to turn a decommissioned flour mill into a museum. Welcome back. The head coach of Ottawa's pro women's hockey team has announced she's battling breast cancer just as the league launches a new women's health initiative. And as Pauline Chan reports, the coach has no intention of leaving the bench anytime soon.
An announcement from the Ottawa Charge said two-time Olympic gold medalist and Ottawa head coach Carla McLeod has been diagnosed with breast cancer. McLeod says, "Hearing those words was incredibly difficult, but I want everyone to know that I'm going to be okay." She adds, "I'm incredibly fortunate to have an exceptional medical team guiding me, and together we have built a treatment plan that gives me tremendous confidence in the road ahead." The diagnosis comes as the PWHL is embarking on a new partnership with BD Canada, an international medical technology company, to advance women's health.
So Breast Cancer Canada obviously is thrilled to hear that BD Canada is partnering with PWHL to advance women's health. Certainly breast cancer is a topic we're still looking at 1 in 8 and over 50 different types of breast cancer.
Kimberly Carson says early detection is key, and the latest guidelines mean women age 40 are now covered for breast screening in all provinces except Quebec and Alberta.
You can self-refer, which means you don't need a doctor to tell you that you can go. You can actually go and present at a clinic yourself and ask for a mammogram.
The 43-year-old McLeod says she plans to work as much as possible in the coming weeks and months, something Carson says is not uncommon.
Because there's so many different types of breast cancer, it really depends on how quickly it's been caught, what stage they're at. But certainly, yeah, I mean, if it was caught quickly at an early stage, she may not even need chemotherapy. She may be just going through some surgery and some radiation, and she probably can actually continue to work.
McLeod is even counting on being able to travel to Czechia to coach there in the new year. The new BD partnership with PWHL is aimed at promoting equitable access to testing and treatment for women, empowering women through sports, and strengthening communities by supporting women, patients, and caregivers. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The holiday shopping season is in full swing. Today is Cyber Monday, and new data shows American consumers have already spent an estimated $11.8 billion online on Black Friday alone, a 9% increase over last year. Experts say the best deals are likely on electronics, beauty products, and clothing. A warning from tech experts, though, to not swipe your credit card too mindlessly, risking overspending.
It's a lack of planning. People just swipe the credit card, tap the credit card. It's so easy to overspend nowadays that we're in a cashless economy. Ever since COVID, people are just using the credit card more than ever. So there's been many studies that show when you use a credit card, you just don't have that same pain of spending as you would with cash. It mainly comes down to planning in advance and just setting a budget for total gift spending for all family members, friends, as well as even if you're a landlord, tenants as well.
American-made liquor is back on Nova Scotia store shelves, but only for a limited time. U.S. products were pulled back in March as the trade war ramped up. Last week, the Nova Scotia government announced it would sell off its $14 million worth of U.S. alcohol. Government officials say they expect to funnel $4 million in profits from those sales to support Nova Scotia food organizations. BC's premier appears to be shifting his opinion on a potential pipeline through his province, no longer opposed as long as certain conditions are met.
If we can agree that the oil tanker ban is going to stay in place, then let's have those conversations. I think that would make life a lot better and easier in British Columbia in terms of our relationship with coastal First Nations, and would definitely take down the temperature.
The tanker ban was put in place 6 years ago. It prohibits some larger tankers from docking at ports along BC's northern coast. The premier says an exemption would anger First Nation leaders and put existing energy projects in jeopardy. He's also suggesting an alternative plan to increase capacity for the existing Trans Mountain pipeline. One of the former World Junior hockey players acquitted in last summer's sexual assault trial has signed a contract in the American Hockey League. Cal Foote hasn't played in the NHL since the 2023-24 season with the New Jersey Devils. He was charged with sexual assault last year along with 4 of his Canadian World Junior teammates. They were each acquitted in July. Goaltender Carter Hart is the only player so far to sign an NHL contract since the trial ended.
An area of light snowfall moving in tonight as low pressure passes by to the south, and temperatures are set to drop this week. A piece of the polar low wobbles southward, leading to bitterly cold air and temperatures averaging below normal. Thank you to Joseph O'Neill for sending in this photo. Some rough marine conditions with some wicked winds.
President Donald Trump has told the New York Times he had a phone call with the Venezuelan president, but has not provided any further details after declaring Venezuela's airspace should be closed. Trump had issued a warning on social media over the weekend. Yesterday, he told reporters his comments were not about an imminent airstrike, saying no one should read anything into it. U.S. military officials have deployed multiple warships in the Caribbean near Venezuela, claiming they're trying to stop drug trafficking. Venezuelan officials have accused the U.S. of using military threats to instigate a regime change in that country. Chinese authorities say they've now arrested 14 people who they say are connected to a deadly high-rise fire in Hong Kong last week, which killed at least 151 people. These are images released by Hong Kong police showing what's left of the apartment block. More than 40 people are still missing. Local officials have blamed substandard renovation materials for the extent of the damage. They say the green mesh, which was wrapped around bamboo scaffolding, did not meet fire safety standards, and the foam insulation used by contractors contributed to how quickly the flames spread. Pardon me, more than 1,000 people have been killed by flooding and landslides in Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, and Thailand. More than 600 are dead in Indonesia alone, where a rare tropical storm triggered mudslides and intense flooding. More than 28,000 homes have been damaged, impacting about 1.4 million people. In Sri Lanka, mudslides and flooding have killed more than 350 people. Rescue crews are still searching for hundreds more who are missing. More than 200,000 people are now in temporary shelters. As the holiday shopping season picks up, businesses are trying to keep up, adding to their staffing levels. But as Sarah Plowman reports, even with more people looking to hire, there seems to be people looking for work than jobs available.
At malls across Canada, people are hunting for a deal and some a job. Jaden Flexman landed her holiday gig at Hickory Farms, where she'll sell gourmet meats and cheeses into January.
It was a lot of applying online. There was about 200 online applications I'd done, if not more.
According to the job search site Indeed.com, holiday hiring is up 12% compared to last year, but companies aren't posting as many positions as they did 2 or 3 years ago.
There are going to be a few more options potentially out there. At the same time, job seekers are potentially competing with more of their peers.
Bernard says it's been a tough market for job seekers the past few years. Canada's unemployment rate is about 7%. The youth unemployment rate is double that.
To really get the labor market moving in the right direction, we just need a stronger overall economy.
To help keep up with holiday demand, Endeavours and Think Play in Fredericton posted one seasonal job. More than 180 applied.
We have combed through all of those resumes.
People with retail experience, but surprisingly, a lot of nurses too.
A lot of the applicants I noticed, there were multiple current positions and they're looking for a second, a third.
In Brandon, Manitoba, Toy Masters brought on new staff, including students, but had to turn dozens of people away.
It really breaks my heart to see how hard it is for a lot of these young adults and kids to be finding jobs these days.
Come January, Flexman will have another job. She has advice for anyone searching.
Just keep in mind budgeting, and paper resumes do still work sometimes, so don't give up on those.
Tips to digest when there's no avoiding a challenge. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest in the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, a nearly 200-year-old flour mill in Huron County potentially transformed into a mini museum. With more on the personal campaign to save Logan's Mill, here's Scott Miller.
We'll have a 3-story setup.
Doug Scholdice has fond memories of coming to Logan's Mill in Brussels with his grandfather.
My memory is my grandfather. I remember being with him to drop bags of grain off here, have them milled, and then go to town, get the groceries, and then pick them up again and take them home.
Before gasoline and electricity, water-powered mills is how farmers and farm families turned the grain they grew into food for themselves and their livestock. Flour and grist mills were the lifeblood of rural communities. Over 60 dams and mills lined the Maitland River in Huron County alone.
Grain milling used to be done by hand, and then it went to horsepower, and this is a mill operated by belts and pulleys and all the other good things and so on a commercial basis. So it shows a lot about the history of Huron County and our general area in terms of occupying a property that was first purchased by the Canada Company a couple hundred years ago.
Laviolette and Scholdice are part of a group, the Maitland Mills Association, trying to save one of the only mills left standing in Huron County. Logan's Mill in Brussels was built in 1859. It survived 2 fires, but eventually closed in 1965. It sat vacant ever since. Scholdice and Laviolette envision a mini museum showcasing the inner workings of the mill, including historical artifacts from other now defunct mills along the Maitland River.
It's also a place, education for school kids to come and tour, to see some of the history of the area.
Of course, nothing is cheap in the restoration business. The estimates right now to turn this old mill into a museum is approximately $750,000. Scholdice and Laviolette believe this is a valuable project to try and preserve and highlight a way of life that's almost entirely forgotten.
Our timeline is hopefully by the end of 2027 is to have something that is operational and viewable.
In Brussels, Scott Miller, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back with your late news tonight after Monday Night Football. Bye for now.